What is up, Wizards fans? Welcome to another Believe in Wizards podcast. I'm Matt Modderno. He's Jahadi White. The young Wizards are fun. I think basketball is back here in the DMV, and we've had some actual stuff to watch after the All-Star break. But first, Jahadi, how are you? How are things?
Man, life's good. No complaints my way. No one will listen anyway. Maybe I can, complain to you.
Anytime. Hopefully, we have nothing Wizards related to complain about, which is good. And we'll get into it here. But as always, we're brought to you by BetOnline. betonline.ag is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting in 2025. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion with the largest selection on odds from everything from NBA, college basketball, NHL, UFC. For every three-pointer and every hat trick, BetOnline has you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here. The Wizards just lost the other night, last night, seems longer ago than that, to the Portland Trailblazers, 129-121. Honestly, this is kind of the losses you want the rest of the way. You saw some things from some of the younger guys, and they didn't hurt the tank, so that's great. They did win the game before that against Brooklyn, who they're in competition with for one of the worst records. That was 107-99. In this most recent game, Poole looked pretty good. Kispert looked pretty good. Holmes looked pretty good. So more of the veteran guys, but that's okay overall. And in the Brooklyn win, Poole was good. Koulibaly, I thought, was really good. And Keyshawn George is probably the hot name for Wizards fans right now of the young guys. Sarr's not played the last couple because of an ankle injury. But Keyshawn is kind of doing it on both sides of the ball here. And I think that's been exciting, right? Like he's probably the one I think we knew least about what to expect from him. And he really struggled to shoot the ball for the first, half of the year, realistically. But he's been on a heater lately. And Jahadi, you know this better than the rest of us, but he's seeing some shots go through the hoop, and magically the defensive effort and things like that have returned, and we're seeing more hustle and more scrappiness. It's not kind of hanging his head. Once you see a couple threes get in, it's easier to get a little excited and get hyped. And it's cool to just kind of see him, get over whatever that initial rookie wall was.
Yeah. I mean, when you first start off, you had this kind of this rookie type of film above you,
Mm-hmm.
and you fight to belong, and you fight to sustain,
Mm-hmm.
in the NBA and be, in a role on the team.
Sure.
So I think once you get a couple of starts under your belt and it starts to become natural,
Mm-hmm.
then you're starting to feel natural on the court.
Yeah.
And then once you start seeing that ball go in, now, okay, all right, okay, so now I can do this. I can shoot the ball. I can make, I can do what I normally do. I can do what I'm here for, and I can do what got me here.
Sure.
So now he's finally comfortable doing the same thing that got him here,
Mm-hmm.
which is good. And he's young, and I think there's no rookie that don't go through it. So
Sure.
he had to go through its little lumps, and now he's starting to get more smooth sailing. I still see some mistakes,
Yeah, for sure.
I still see some mistakes and rookie mistakes and just mistakes in general. And now the more comfortable you get and the more comfortable you're able to score, now you can focus on other things like cleaning up the mistakes.
Mm-hmm. You're just starting to see more, I think, of the blueprint they're envisioning for this team. I think they want to build long-term a defensive juggernaut here. And now it's okay, we know Koulibaly can strap up. Oh, Keyshawn's showing something. He's a switchable wing that can maybe guard 2 through 4 potentially, depending on the matchup. We know what Sarr can bring. Bub is at least going to give effort every time. And like you said, you're definitely the rookie mistakes when they happen, they're glaring, and sometimes they look really bad, but it's at least enough of ooh, okay, here's what this could be. And now you put Holmes, I think, is hustling out there. He's not the best defender, but the effort is good. And now Marcus Smart is with them, and he's obviously still a top-notch defender. He's helping him move the ball a little bit. And I just think there's okay, now a few more, pieces for the future are starting to look like pieces for the future, I guess.
Yeah, I think what we're starting to do is bring in guys that really have a standard with defense.
Yeah.
Just coming in.
Sure.
Not something that we say, okay, guys, this is going to be a defensive standard that we're going to live by.
Yep.
Now, automatically, guys like Marcus Smart, he lives and dies by a defensive standard. Actually, Bub defensive standard to me is not bad at all. He causes a lot of turnovers and he gets a lot of steals. Sure. Coulibaly defensive standard is probably one of the best I've seen for anybody from his class on, right? So now you're starting to get guys with the same mindset, right? And now that really not only pours over into the rest of the team, it's accountability that starts to kick in too, right? So now, like the game Marcus Smart had the other day, as great as that was, it's even better because now it's oh, wow, we have him. Now he's going to be the guy that helps us pick up the defense. So I think it's great. It's exciting to see us now even in losses, it's not blowouts.
Sure.
We're defending and we're moving the ball and if and we're working hard. I'm starting to see just not only effort, but people enjoying putting in the effort, which is not what I didn't see before.
Right. Yeah, more consistently competitive. Yep. There's still a lot of rookies. They're still going to have a couple nights where somebody like slaps a beating on them. But it won't just be because like they looked totally indifferent from the start. And that was the thing that bothered me the first half of the season was there were too many of those nights where it's just like, all right, we're totally flat. That should be the one thing you don't have when you play this many young guys. It's just like a night where everybody looks like they've just kind of like, totally out of it from the beginning. And that, like you said, accountability, I think is a great word. It's sort of what, Westbrook brought when he was with the Wizards. Like Marcus Smart will not let guys loaf on defense next to him. And, like you've got Kris Middleton, like I think his best days are behind him is probably the way to put that. But he still tries, and he's not going to like let dudes like totally slack off around him. And I think there's going to be additional accountability that comes from this veteran group. And it's like we talked about before, Middleton, like, he's like maybe like one dribble and a pull up or catch and shoot kind of stuff for them now. He's not like blowing up the offense to get his touches. And he's not really doing much offensively so far anyway, but it's fine. Like he can be a veteran guy that fits in and, he's got enough cachet as a champion and an all-star and things like that these guys around him like will listen to what he says. And I think that's what you want too. Like imagine trying to say like, hey, Marcus Smart, you don't know what you're talking about in terms of this defensive rotation or whatever the case may be. Like whatever he says is going to carry weight with them. And having those kind of guys doing on that side of the ball where these rookies all look like they can be promising, I think that was a great pickup. And I honestly, he's of the older guys. I wouldn't be mad if he was the one that sticks around here for a while. I don't know if he thinks he's in that stage of his career where he wants to be on a rebuilding team or whatever long-term, but I wouldn't be in a rush to trade him out of here either.
If I'm Marcus Smart, I'm looking at this as my reinvention.
Yeah, I like that.
Right? And I have the perfect platform to do it. It's not my reinvention of scoring or going crazy.
Sure.
It's my reinvention of you having to need me. You having to need me because I offer something that's really non-existent right now.
Yep.
Right. My reinvention of okay, I've been, like you said, I come with a lot of cachet, come with a lot of experience, come with play one of the main characters on one of the best teams in the NBA, right, for a while. Yep. Then I really had struggled in Memphis. Now I'm here. I'm on the floor. Let me get my body in shape. And let me show you that I can put this team on my back defensively. Not only that, I can pass my identity on to the rest of the players. And if I can do that, and to me, this is the perfect platform to do it. It's not like I'm no one's challenge. It's not like I'm being challenged to, I'm up against a wall here. There's another. It's Pat Beverly sitting next to me. It's none of that.
No ego. Yeah.
Right. No ego. So this is the perfect platform for him to pretty much get an extra 4 to 5 years if possible.
Yeah, I think so. I've just sometimes you worry about like the veteran guy that comes in and there were some rumblings of like Smart in Boston of like him breaking the offense a little bit or like calling his own number a little bit the year they tried to make him a point guard. And I don't know that you want him necessarily being your like main high usage on ball guy, but he's been a really good connector for the Wizards through 4 games. Like the first game against Memphis, the last game was for Memphis at Toronto. So the last game he played was right before the All-Star break, and he hadn't done anything. First game he played for the Wizards was against Milwaukee. Sorry, wrong M team. And he 2 of 3, like really kind of just didn't do a whole lot. Had a couple, good passes, a rebound or 2, a couple steals. He played hard defense, and like that was cool. In the Brooklyn win, though, like 4 of 6 from the field, got to the line twice, which is fine. 2 assists. Like it's nothing special, but the ball doesn't stick with him, which I think is huge. He's 4-9 in this Portland game. If he shoots 45% from the field, like I'm fine with that. Like you want him 1 or 2 of these threes to go in a little more frequently, maybe, but I haven't had a problem with it. Like the other night in this Portland game, like he shoots a 3 late, gets fouled, doesn't get the call, makes the 3, and is screaming for an and 1, and they tech him up. And at first I was like, God, the veteran guy, he can't be getting technical, but like it means he gives a shit, like and he could be a guy that got just shipped off to a rebuilding team, as a dude with championship pedigree. He could just be going through the paces, but you're not getting technicals in the fourth quarter of a meaningless game unless you actually like care about the outcome. So
true.
I was happy to see that, to be honest with you, more than anything.
I'm happy to see the passion. I'm happy to see him care.
Yeah.
I don't think it's time for him to get technicals yet.
It wasn't smart and it did hurt them, but I'll take it over not caring, at least.
Yeah, reason being he's in the improvement stage all over again. He's still in an evaluation stage.
Sure.
And he has to understand. He should understand that more than anybody else, other than like he's a vet. So, he may not care as much, but just for on the outside looking in, fans' sake, you want him to stick around. You want that. You want to hope that he can pass an identity to the rest of the guys.
Yeah.
And doing that right now, he got to be the ultimate professional.
Yeah. You want him to be a little more of a savvy vet and not pick up that tech. But it was your old college coach's line, I'd rather calm down a fool than raise a corpse, that was popping through my head. Like give me 1 of 2 alternatives and I'll at least I can work with, like a little too emotional about it, but been good so far. The Middleton one, some buddies of mine were going back and forth in the group chat about how much he has left or whatever the case may be. To me, Jahadi, he looks like the guy that you play pickup with that's like like a little past his prime, but he's still savvy and he's like, doesn't move as well anymore, but he's figured out some of those veteran tricks. Like he just kind of elevates over guys and like he's not doing anything crazy to get the shots off, but the movement is just not there anymore. And maybe that's still the injury or whatever, and he can get back to it and rehab a little, but I'm not expecting a career resurgence from Kris Middleton, here in DC at least.
I was hoping it could be.
Sure.
I was hoping it could, not only for Washington's sake, but for Middleton's sake.
For his sake.
We watched Middleton be dominating, smooth.
Yep.
Like he was almost a KD before KD a little bit. Like, not on that caliber, but with the height, the way he can jump
6'8"
shot,
guy that can
stop and pop, So I was hoping that we could see that again. I just feel like he has lost a step, like a major step. And I feel like he still can give us a lot, but I don't see himself being able to push himself to that caliber. Also, being able to sacrifice his body enough to be able to push himself to that caliber. So I watch him. I just feel like he's very cautious. I'm watching a guy who playing very cautious and still let me do what I do and let me not do too much. If I can get it, I'm gonna get it. But I'm more cautious of not getting injured.
That's a good point.
than I am more of trying to sacrifice my body to push myself past the prime for everything else. Like he's not willing to roll the dice and be out longer and more. Like I just see like now he made a decision.
Which I'm okay with. Like they don't need or honestly want him to be going balls to the walls to prove, something to himself or whoever. Like so far, same thing with Smart. Like it's you mentioned it perfectly. Like he's kind of let things come to him. That first game against his old team, which I get him wanting to shoot even a little more in that game. 4 of 10 from the field, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, 12 points. Like I didn't feel like he broke the game plan or any of that stuff. He's under 10 attempts in each of the 2 games since then. And the minutes, he's playing 24 minutes. Like to me, that's the right amount of minutes. It's letting him get out and stretch his legs, but we're not grinding this guy into the ground to win games at the expense of the rookies or the younger guys. So I'm totally good with that.
I think he understands that they're not expecting me to get 24 points. Exactly. And if I do, that may not be the best look for me either.
Right, exactly.
Right? So like we have young guys here, they want to score. Mm-hmm. Get it 10 points, but let me get some really good stops. Let me put an identity and a philosophy of defense out there, right? And let me start putting a different mentality, passing on a different mentality to the rest of the players.
Yeah. Yeah, he's really the guy that I think like is probably in the I need to consider. Like, remember the last 5 years of Vince Carter's career where he just went young team to give like sage wisdom. Like Middleton's about 34, and like with the injuries and stuff, like he's probably closer to that point. Whereas like Marcus Smart is just turned 30, I think. So, or he's a little actually he's almost 31, but still like. He's just he's got a little more left in the tank, I think, than Middleton does at this point. So Middleton, you just don't rock the boat, be a good vet. And by all accounts, he's that kind of dude. So I'm cool with that pickup is I guess what I'm saying overall.
I'm cool with it now. I don't know how long I'll be cool with it. Yeah, just because I don't think that's the game plan anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm more cool with Marcus Smart long term.
Sure.
If he can do the right thing, like if he can say, all right, if he understands his role, if he's the Marcus Smart we know, he's you can tell he's still trying to get his body back in shape.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm fine with that. Middleton wise, I'm a big fan of Middleton. I'm a big fan of his game. I loved watching him back, when it's in his heyday with the Bucks, but I don't know if he's not. I don't think he's willing to go through all of that stuff his body went through again. And the fact, if you're hoping for that, you just can't. That's just tough to hope for.
Yeah. He's got to be willing to transition into like elder statesman, play sparingly kind of guy over time here. If he's not going to go, to a certain level, because you just can't give him the kind of reps he'll want. I think he's got a player option for next year at $34 million. He will 100% pick that up. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he'll be back for at least some portion of next year. Maybe they buy him out at the deadline or whatever the case may be. But presumably he's not going to get healthier as he ages, just because most people don't after they've had a bunch of injuries. So
yeah,
we'll see what he's okay with, and I trust that front office to have that conversation with him and see if they're on the same page or not. And if they're not, then
he just seems like he wants to be effective.
Sure.
But he's playing safe.
Yeah. And hey, if that's something you want to just kind of ease back into it a little bit, like I can understand that too. The stakes aren't crazy high right now. So maybe they're okay letting him get his sea legs back a little bit here as well. The other young guy here, he's not really playing for the Wizards, which I think has bothered some some fans of some of the younger guys, but he's playing a lot in the G League right now, is AJ Johnson. And that's one of the guys that picked up from Milwaukee. Really young, athletic, guard, doesn't really shoot it crazy well yet, but it has got some bounce to him, and he hasn't done a ton yet in his 3 games for the Wizards. I think he's scored a combined 7 points in 3 games here, but he's got a little something to him, and like I'm trying to pull up his G League stats here real quick because he's had a couple really strong performances for them, which is what you want. Like that's the reason to have a G League team, is to take this young, like raw guy like him, and if you can't justify minutes for him on the Wizards right now, like, well, cool, we'll just let him go do his thing with the go and that'll be great. So far right now in the let's see, of course it's slow to load. All right, he's played 3 games for the Capital City Go-Go. He's averaging 20 points, shooting 47% from the field, 46% from 3 on 7.5 attempts per game. So this is a guy that like was not known as a shooter, but in his 18 games in the regular season in the G League so far, he's over 43%, which is great. And then he's just doing a little bit of other stuff too, like 3 rebounds, 4 assists, turning it over a good amount. But he's young and exciting, and just Bijan Todd for Monumental is doing my favorite segment in Wizards coverage right now, and that's just asking other teams, what they think of their young players. And his former coach Doc Rivers said the trade with the Wizards took him a minute because of how much he liked basically AJ Johnson and how hard Milwaukee is trying to keep him. So Rivers said, I love him. I think he's going to be an incredible player. He's an incredible kid. He works hard. He's not very far away. And Doc Rivers is like, he's known as a guy that doesn't love rookies and things like that, especially raw rookies. So that was high praise. And then similarly, Bijan asked Giannis about the young guys, and he had nice things to say about AJ Johnson as well. But, he said it's tempting to want to, quote, get yours on a rebuilding team, but building good team-focused habits is the key. And he said he's very excited with the talented group that the Wizards can become. Granted, these veteran guys aren't going to be haters to some young guys. So they're not going to go out and crush them. But almost every single star player they've asked has just said glowing things about the Wizards' young core. And that's, I'd rather hear that than the alternative. And you can tell when guys are just giving lip service. Like, I think they genuinely believe that. So it made me feel a little better about the AJ Johnson pickup as well.
Yeah, it does. I mean, when you're a player, you know other players. You even know the rookie. You play against them. You see talent. Sure. One thing about a basketball player, you can recognize another really good basketball player right away, even if they're not having the best game.
Sure.
Or not actually having a breakout killing game. You say, okay. So if I'm a player and I see Bilal, if I play against him right away, even if I'm not checking, I'm like, wow, that guy got something. Right? You see Alex Sarr, you're like, okay, he can be something. He has some good skills. You're right.
Yeah.
You see Bub, you're going to say, oh, okay, there's something with this kid.
Yeah.
So with AJ Johnson, right? To me, that's why, like, when I heard Doc Rivers say it was tough to try to get rid of him, we didn't want to. That's because you see a lot in him. That's a guy that most likely really, really could grow into a player. Not saying that he's going to be a dominant player, but those Jordan Goodwin types.
Yeah, I like that.
Those Jordan Goodwin types, you really like those because, okay, they bring an element that's in a toughness and a tenacity and a dog, naturally a dog, that you can't replace.
Yep.
So that AJ Johnson brings some type of, maybe not the same, but that niche. When you see a niche type of player, that's because every team needs that niche thing. And I think that's an AJ Johnson type.
Yeah, like a little, he's going to push other guys in practice, and you're going to have to keep up with him, and he's going to run guys, and I like that. And if he turns into more, great. Like the raw material is there for him to be a very good player. Where he ultimately ends up, at the very least, you've got a guy that's going to bring energy and athleticism and push people in practice for the next couple of years, and then anything above that, I think is house money for what they got.
Yep.
Just stats for guys in the 4 games post All-Star game. Alex Sarr's only played 1 game, but he had 22 points in it, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 steals, 1 block. Jordan Poole averaging about 19 points, 3.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists. under a steal a game. Koulibaly, 13.5 points, 3.5 rebounds, 3.8 assists, 1 steal, 3 turnovers for Koulibaly, which I'm actually okay with because it's, him trying to do stuff. And I'd rather him be like trying to make plays than being tentative and just tailoring the ball back to somebody. So I think that's good.
I agree. I just think sometimes some of his passes can be still just go straight to the basket.
Yeah,
I think sometimes he's still naturally a point guard from France.
Sure.
And sometimes you may have to sometimes get rid of that.
Yeah, you're going downhill already. Just go all the way to the hoop and try to dunk on somebody.
6'9".
Yep. Yeah, it was funny watching Shaedon Sharpe last night. There were a couple times where he probably shouldn't have taken the ball himself all the way to the hoop, and he still did something with it. It's like, I'd like to see Bilal just do like a little bit more of that, the go get mine kind of stuff, but that's okay. Kispert, 13.5 points. He's fine. He's what he is. Holmes, 12.5 points, 7 rebounds, 2.5 assists. I think he's been good. I think he's good enough as a veteran center to bring us home here. Middleton, we talked about it, 9 points a game, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 24 minutes a game. Bub, 8.5, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, a little less than a steal. Marcus Smart, 8.5 points, 1.3 rebounds, 2 assists, over a steal a game. Keyshawn playing 30 minutes a game, which I love. 8 points, about 5 rebounds, about 4 assists, also 3 turnovers. Same thing with him. He just tries to make some passes that, prime Steve Nash wasn't going to make. So he just got to rein it in a little bit. But he's doing the other stuff. Over a steal a game. He's at 2 blocks a game right now. He does foul like way too much. It's sort of like rookie year Denny Avdia, where he was just sort of, bowling a china shop. He's averaging 3.5 fouls per game in that stretch. It's just gonna have to figure that out. Tristan Vučevíc, Jahadi, that's the next guy I wanted to spend a minute on. In his 4 games post All-Star break, he's averaging 13 minutes a game, 7.5 points, 3 rebounds, about an assist, 2 turnovers in that time, which is a lot for short minutes. Doesn't really do much for you from a steals block perspective. He's making some shots. He shows off some skill. There's a couple good passes here and there. He just looks really slow and outmatched athletically. And I don't know if that's conditioning, but he didn't look that way to me in that limited sample size last year. So that's my main thing I noticed with him when he's on the court is he just sort of doesn't look, on the same level as the rest of these guys. And that's, you're only going to get so far if you're just totally outclassed, physically, I think.
Yeah, my thing with him is I don't know how much he wants to battle physically.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I question his physicality, which really shows on offensive rebounding and defensive rebounding.
For sure.
I do think the guys should give him a little more respect offensively because he's open a lot. He's diving a lot. He's rim running and he's open and they
just look him off.
They don't seem like they don't even care to give him the ball. So I think he has to earn that respect. And until he earns that respect, you're not truly going to know who he is. And maybe, and the way to get that respect is to do all the other things, do all the intangibles, do all the little small things that you need to do. If you're protecting the basket, giving me, 4 offensive rebounds, 4 defensive rebounds, I'm gonna have to give you the ball.
Right. Yeah, you've taken that choice out of my hands.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to acknowledge that. Hey, take the ball right here. You just did that. You just did this. Or give him the ball and he may give you more on the other parts of the game without the ball.
That's a good
point.
So
until then, I don't know how I just question the battle, and that's my biggest thing with him right now is I don't see him. I see him kind of avoiding the physicality to the point to where he's very ineffective without the ball in his hands.
Yep. Yeah, he's a big, tall dude. He's got real touch. Like if he gets it, he'll make shots and he'll shoot over people. It just seems a little one-dimensional right now. So we'll see what that looks like. All right, let's switch over to some listener questions, and we can rapid fire through these, and then we'll get out of here. So let's start with Chris Guard. Let's see. In watching teams around the league in the ideal rebuild, what aspects of other teams do you hope to emulate once we're contending? What do you project roles for players down the road? So I think maybe let's just simplify this one a little bit. Like, what are the things you see that work around the league that you want the Wizards to try to do? And are these young guys like able to fill any of those roles or pieces for it?
I think they are. I think we could be a team like an OKC type.
Yeah.
You know, where
that's got to be the goal, I think, right?
They got to be especially defensive wise.
Mm-hmm.
Defensive wise, you have to have a standard or identity like an OKC as far as like where there's no option. We have to get stops. We have to force turnovers. We have to make sure there's only one possession, one attempt at the basket. That's it. Yep. I think we can, even with the team we have now, think we could turn into that. Maybe not this year, but it's that. So we can turn to that. So now I'm also like it because as far as like still using OKC as a reference, because I'm starting to see Bilal being confident getting downhill more, right? So now we can attack the defense. We can put pressure on the defense. I felt like we weren't able to put pressure on the defense before.
Totally.
I hate to say it, with Sarr being out, more pressure on the defense is starting to happen. Now, I think he's going to learn how to put pressure on the defense as well, but I'm seeing more pressure on the defense, which means, okay, and more forced fouls we force them to call fouls on us. We get into the line more. Even Kispert is actually getting downhill more. So I like how much pressure we're putting on the defense right
now. Great answer. I think the other thing, too, it's like I watch what Boston does, and when they're really good, the ball just zips around the perimeter, and they're 5 out, and they have that option where you have to guard everybody. That's another way to open the lane up for those guys, too. It's not some big plotting dude in the middle. And I think the guys they're adding, they give you the, at least the theoretical ability to do that long term, where you might have 5 guys who could all shoot in space, and somebody drives and you replace and you do a little read and react here and stuff like that. So I'm liking where they're going with that. Chris also asked does Keyshawn have all defensive type player potential? I don't see that personally, but I think he'll be an above average NBA defender.
Yeah, I don't see all defense. I don't see all defensive yet. I see Keyshawn I see him very raw.
Yeah.
More raw than probably other fans or other people see him right now, because I do see his ability to become a good defender. Mm-hmm. And I see his passion when he makes mistakes. And that's actually good. Yeah. He's making a lot of them right now. Mm-hmm. But I see his passion when that mistake is made. He kind of upset with himself, but he wants to figure it out.
Yeah.
So I now want to see Keyshawn get to the point of, all right, how fast can you figure these mistakes out? Mm-hmm. Once I see him starting to kind of help figure those mistakes out, then you see what type of player he truly can be. Yep. Or what the type of player that, okay, then now his potential. Now you can see where his potential can go. I haven't really been able to gauge his potential yet, because
it's kind of all over the place still.
He's all over the place right now. Not in a bad way. Yeah. He's just in a rookie way and just in a learning way.
There's more to figure out there, I think, for him than the other guys. But the exciting things are really exciting, and I get the hype from people for sure. I'm more excited about him, on the offensive end personally. And I still, like I said, I think he can be a good NBA defender. It's
what I like about him is I think he has a very good, very strong mid-range game, mid-range game that haven't truly been unlocked yet.
Yeah. I'd like to see him learn a little bit of that from Kispert too, now that they're respecting his 3-point shot a little bit more. Attack and close out, pull up for mid-range when you need to, get to the rim a little bit more too. And I think, the way he handles the ball, the older I get, the more I watch this NBA, I think the wings that have like a real ability to put the ball on the floor and manipulate the defense, I think is so valuable. And I think he has that ability to do that. And like you said about putting pressure on, on the defense, like if you're a big dude who could shoot and they have to respect you and you could attack a closeout, but then you can back it up and ISO a guy, like, I think that's kind of next level scoring potential. And I think there's flashes of that at the very least.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay. From Weezus Dangerously, do you think it would be smart to keep both first-round picks at their projected spots or package one with some second-round picks to try to trade up if we don't get the first overall pick? Yeah, I mean, I would do that, right? Like if your first-round pick is in the late 20s, you've got all these first-round picks. Like they've shown that, all these second-round picks. They've shown their willingness, even in the Bilal year. They traded 2 second-round picks just to move up one spot. So could you go from 27 to 21? I would consider that if the right guy is available or someone that's high on their board. I would definitely be trying to maneuver.
So what he said, take some of your second-round picks.
And would you take some of your? Yeah, would you add
places higher for the first-round pick?
Yeah, with your later of the 2 second-round. The later of the 2 first-round picks, would you package it with second-round picks to try to move back up in the draft?
Yeah, if I had a later first-round pick, so like you said, if I have a 1, then I have a 22, and I can get somewhere between 19 and 20, 19 to 18, I would, absolutely.
Yeah, same here, 100%. Yeah, I think, again, if there are guys that are there or the guy you like most, you think you can still get him in the late 20s, like, then maybe you don't need to, but that they should be trying to do everything they can to get the guys they want to get. And I think, we saw that in both of the last 2 drafts. They're wanting to do that.
Yeah.
Let's see. What is one thing, this is from Jared Bachner, what is one thing we both think that each rookie this year needs to add to their game or improve on before next season? I'll start with Keyshawn. I think him getting a little stronger would go a long way too. Like he's still looks like a baby deer or baby giraffe sometimes. Like it looks a little wobbly on both legs. So I think that would go a long way for all 3 of them. To be honest with you, just get stronger. But for Keyshawn, I trust the jumper. Like I said, I would keep tightening that handle up. For Bub, I want to see him get to the rim a little bit more. And for Sar, I just want like one move. Like I'm an old school guy. Just one thing you can do around the basket that's your bread and butter. That I don't know, right hand jump hook over your left shoulder. Just something like it'd be nice just to have in the arsenal.
Yeah, I think for Keyshawn, I like to see him more polished and sound. Like become more of a sound player. I know what he does. I know some things he can do. I don't know what he does exactly. Where I can trust and I can say this is what he brings that I can guarantee. I don't have that yet with him. With Bub, I want him to learn pace.
Okay.
Right now he's just fast. He's effectively fast, right? But I want him to now start learning how to now utilize what he already has. Start making himself more of a Paul George, learning how to use pace against people. Sometimes it's deceleration. Sometimes it's acceleration. Sometimes it's pausing. Sometimes it's freezing the guy on your back.
Right.
I want him to learn how to be a top point guard because I feel like he has the tools to be that. But Alex, I want him to be more physical.
Yeah.
I think we need for that side, we need a higher level of physicality. And I want him to be able to score, in the paint, but more like from the volleyball line. If he get a touch of the volleyball line, it's
drive on someone.
Just floater or a shot that's guaranteed, and be able to get in the post and really get some strong shots off in the post, right? So I want him to be more of a fusion type of player between a 5. He can play just as much traditional 5 as he can play 4, as he can step out and shoot a 3.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, that's how you maximize his potential skill set, I think, is exactly what you talked about, is have him be that Swiss Army knife kind of big man. So I'm totally with you. Tommy, how many years do you really think we are away from a deep playoff run? I've gotten this question a lot, Jahadi, of like, are we going to be too good next year? And it's a situation where the Wizards potentially owe their first round pick to the Knicks if they fall outside the top 6. I don't think this front office will let that happen no matter what. I think they'll be more competitive next year, but next year's draft, I think, is even better than this one. So I can't see them squandering that opportunity. So I think we're in the 27 season by the time they're even like really trying to be better. And I think it's realistically probably another year beyond that. Like, so maybe the 27, 28 season by the time they're like actually like playoff contending.
I think it depends on what picks they get in this draft.
Okay.
If they get some guaranteed great picks like a Cooper Flag and then another really good pick, I think you have to start next year.
Okay.
Reason being is you can't tank a lot with players like that. Right?
I got you.
So and right now I feel like we have a good surrounding core. You know what I'm saying? So if you have you get a young dominant player, you want to let him go. Yep. You don't want to hold him back.
Sure.
And then you get another really good dominant scorer or player. Now, those two guys will have Bilal Coulibaly surrounding them. You have Jordan Poole, and you have an Alex Sarr.
Yep.
That's not a bad starting 5.
I agree.
So now if I got that starting 5, right, with the three guys that's now dominant players become really great role guys, right? Now it's better role guys than most people have, and you get 2 dominant guys like a Cooper, and then somebody else. I'm pushing that starting 5.
Sure.
I have to. If that's not the case, then I would say another 2 to 3 years, at the most, 2 to 3 seasons at the most. But at the most, the later I say 2. But I think it all is going to depend on what we do in this draft, next upcoming draft.
I think that's a very good point. Like, to me, Flag is the one that raises the ceiling of others, both offensively and defensively, the most of the guys they could potentially get. So maybe that gives everybody a kind of an exponential bump there.
Yeah, we'll still be young. So that's even better, because now we'll fight, and then
they grow together. And
we'll grow, and then now we can mold, and now we got a core.
Sure. I was just looking at this, though, like, even adding Wembanyama to San Antonio as a rookie didn't really do much for them from a wins-losses perspective. So to me, it's still probably, even with those guys, like, I don't think they'll be marred. Like, they'll be better. They'll be more competitive. I still think if the vets are good, if they're too good, they'll trade them, or they'll find a way to kind of make sure that they're still, realistically in that 1 to 6 range.
True. But the difference is, I don't feel like Spurs are trying to tank.
No, I don't think they are. I just saying, like, he's not organically good enough by himself to lift them up. And that's what I mean. Like, I don't think
I don't think Spurs have a surrounding core so far that we would have. Now, they don't have a surround. If Sarr, if Poole,
if they all take a jump, and
if Coulibaly all become guys who can connect with 2 great players coming in, it would be young, so it's going to be experience based.
Yeah,
but that's automatically a much better, like, those chess pieces, than San Antonio currently has.
There are more guys that could take a jump and force their hand a little bit, for sure.
Yeah.
I think, and if that happens, I'm not mad at it. If they're just organically so much better because guys got better, and we lose a pick, like, I would like a pick in next year's draft, but hey, then go trade for one, go get it some other way. So they can make it work. Alexander Wilson said, I think Dylan Harper would be amazing for this team. Thoughts? Yeah, for me, it's him or Flag. Those are the two guys I would most prefer to end up on the Wizards, just based on how they fit. Harper gives you positional size. He's the guy who could put pressure on defenses, like you were talking about, a little bit more, get downhill. He's great in transition. So, shooting still needs some work, I think, overall, but wouldn't be mad at that pick either.
I'm not mad at Dylan Harper pick at all, but me personally, I'm truly hoping we get a Flag.
Yeah.
Reason why we get Flag is because now things have to change.
Right.
It
forces your hand. Yeah.
It forces your hand.
Yeah.
Right. Because now, not only Flag he's going to bring a fan base.
Mm-hmm.
And with a fan base, more butts in the seats, more. Now you're going to have to.
You can't drag this out for 4
Can't drag it out as long. So I know if I get Flag, the drag now can't be the Flag drag. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that's why I'm going for. That's why I'm thinking. Okay, Dylan Harper and Flag are both great. They'll both be great picks.
Sure.
But one brings an element business wise that forces the hand of the front office that I don't think the other one really does.
I hadn't thought of that, and that's really interesting. Like, if you fall to 4 and you end up with VJ Edgecombe, there's no weight of expectations that come with that.
Right.
Cooper Flag is a Wizard next year. You're getting a few national TV games, like, no matter what. And with that comes some amount of, like, we can't toil in obscurity forever. So I'm glad he said that.
Pressure.
That's
it's pressure.
Yep. And that, it forces them to be on their A game too. So
yeah.
I like that. Let's see. Sean said, since the All-Star break, the Wizards have averaged 19.25 turnovers in the last 4 games. Is this more based upon the lineups with the rookies handling the ball? Yes. I'll just answer that one straight up. I think so. The more rookies you have, the more Belisle and Keyshawn and guys like that are raw creators are empowered to try to run offense, the more that's going to happen. Wizards Malaria said, defense is still an issue. Do you think bringing in former defensive player of the year and Marcus Smart, we will see better defense as a team this year? I mean, we talked about this already. Like, I think that they're already there, and accountability was the word you said that I loved.
Yeah, that's the
yeah, right, exactly. Let's see. Bullets PR, not a question, but possibly talk about the new vets, Smart and Middleton. You already talked about them. You just got Carberried from Bias Bezos. How do you get a big like Vooch to want to play physical? So we talked about wanting to see him play more physically. How do you get him to do that? Like, is there something you can say to him as a coaching staff, positions you can put him in?
You can call it out.
Mm-hmm.
You can call it out, but it doesn't mean it's natural.
Sure.
You want a guy who's naturally physical. Some people are, some people aren't. Bottom line. Some people like touching. Some people hate to be touched. Mm-hmm. Right? I just feel like he's not the type that likes putting a body on people right now.
Yep.
I think he's the European type that always been able to, get away with a jump shot out, right? So I think, and it's tough because I think Sar needs to become more physical too.
Yeah.
So you have two foreign guys who not really. So one is not forcing the other to be physical.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Holmes maybe is your only guy that can bang on him enough in practice a little bit. That's a good point. Yeah, it's Easy Does It asked almost the same thing you just answered. It's how can you change the mindset of Sar offensively? Seems like he hates rolling the basket, attacking the rim, things like that. Yeah,
But you got a Holmes who loves. I mean, that's pretty much his entire game has just been hard rolls.
Yeah. Right. Learn by seeing every day in practice. Like, oh, that got me a few easy buckets. Okay, cool. I mean, this is like really straightforward motivational stuff, I think, but like incentivize them to do that, right? Like if you roll and you finish a play, you're going to get more touches. Like show them why it's to their benefit to do the thing you need them to do. And that's, hopefully a selfish incentive for them to go out and do those things more. And I don't know, you can show them on the tape. See, hey, because you rolled, it made you harder to guard. And now you can do this. Last question here. Jonathan Cabot said, with 2 open roster spots this offseason, with Brogdon and Jalen McDaniels probably gone, Champagnie won't be eligible for another 2-way, and there's going to be 2 first-round picks coming in. Who's the odd man out to make way for those 3? Does Vuk stay on a 2-way? It's too early to say. Some things will change. They could make some offseason trades or some draft night trades, so we'll definitely circle back on this one. On the Vukcevic on a 2-way trade thing, unless he shows enough that they think they need to guarantee him a deal, I would imagine he's probably back on the same kind of contract again next year, and they'll leverage the flexibility the 2-way contract gives them. That's my assumption.
Yeah, I agree. I think he has to not make himself expendable.
Right.
And right now, I don't know if I don't think he's matched that potential yet to not make himself. I don't think he got himself out that box. Mm-hmm. So right now, as far as going with the question you asked, I think he has to make sure he's not that guy.
Yeah, the casualty.
Being that guy.
Yeah, you mentioned Champagnie there too. That is the one guy I feel like they've marginalized a little bit after the deadline. Some of the guys they brought in. He's playing 15 minutes a game, but averaging 4 points, 5 rebounds, and that's kind of it. So I'd like to see him maybe get a little bit back in the action here more. If they do, shut Middleton down some, maybe find some more moments for Champagnie.
Yeah.
All right, partner. That's all I got for us. Any last thoughts or anything?
I'm good, my man. I'm good.
Cool. All right, we're back. They've been fun. Hopefully we get more young, fun, guy experiences out there. So we'll see how that goes. If you have more questions for us, guys, always submit those. Send them to me. I'll make sure we get them in here on the show. I think it's more fun and interactive when we hear from you all. So appreciate you all doing that. As always, click that like button for us on YouTube. Rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. We're presented by betonline.ag, and we will catch you all next time.
Peace.